Welcome to this episode of Estate Secrets Revealed. I am attorney Tony Bell, and we are in episode 2 of our mini-series on construction and port workers and how estate planning can help them. So let's delve right in. Today we want to look at ensuring asset distribution and protection for the families of construction workers and those who work in the ports. This is extremely important because, as we explored in the last episode, if you are in the construction field and career, you have a 75% likelihood that you are going to get injured on the job at some point in your career. That's just the facts. That's the statistics. Hopefully it's not you. However, if it does happen to you, or God forbid something worse happened to you, that maybe you were to die or something of that nature, well, I mean, most people are going to die, but I mean die on the job, or even if it's outside of work, what's going to happen to your family? Everything that you have worked so hard for can be lost just like that, or the majority of it. You have to prepare so that your blood, sweat, and tears that you have done, the hard work that you've done over the years, and all the hot days in the sun and the cold days outside in the wind, all of that, you don't want it to go to waste. You did that for a reason. You're trying to provide for your family and for yourself. So what happens if you die and you don't have an estate plan in place? Let me tell you, you're not going to be happy with the answer. If you were to die without a proper estate plan in place, a large chunk of your money and your assets are going to be taxed by the government and possibly even end up in the hands of someone that you may not have wanted to have it. That's why a proper estate plan for you, especially in the construction field, or if you work for one of the ports, is imperative. You need to have a proper will. You need to have a trust in place so that both of them can work together to protect the assets that you have worked so hard to attain for your family. You need to have those things. There is a difference between a will and a trust. So let me explain quickly. They both are instruments that are part of your estate plan, and there's other documents as well. However, if you have a will, what the will do is take whatever is not designated to be in the trust, whether time has elapsed since you created the trust, and there's some things that you just haven't gotten around to placing in the trust yet, you can create what's called a pour-over will that will, at the time of your death, automatically take everything that's not in your will that belongs to you and pour it over into the trust before the government can put their hands on it to start to tax it. Because what happens is, if you don't have a trust instrument in place as part of your estate plan, what will happen, whether you have a will or not, is that everything that you have worked so hard for, if you have over $150,000 worth of assets, and let's face it, if you have a house, you're already there, because there's no house in California that is that inexpensive. But a few cars, whatever, your cumulative assets, once it reaches a certain level, then it must be probated. And when your loved ones have to probate your assets and will, or your intestate estate, then the government starts to tax and take from whatever is there. If you only own a house, they will tax so many thousands of dollars that could have easily been diverted away from them if you just had the proper trust and everything in place already. And so having a will is important. because what the will does is, at least the will allows you to say what you want to happen with certain assets, as well as with children. If you have children, you can say who you want to be their guardians. And, even besides just a spouse, because what if you and your spouse die at the same time? Well, who takes care of them? Do you want them to wind up in foster care? Or do you want to have a say in where they go? Because if you don't have this will in place, the state is obligated to step in and assign someone, and it could even be a stranger who has no idea of what you want. The state can assign someone to be your personal representative, and then they will make decisions along with the state on everything that you've worked and slaved so hard for your entire life. Do you want that? Of course not. You need to have a will in place that will take care of those issues, and let that will also work in conjunction with a trust. When you place your items into a trust, what happens, for example, you own a house, you own a car, you have some money in the bank, whatever it is, you place all of that into a trust. And the attorney works with you to, set this up so that it's all legal and it fulfills all of the legal requirements, just like they would with the will. But then what happens is, what if you pass away, whatever is inside of that trust does not have to go through probate. Since it doesn't have to go through probate, it does not get taxed with probate taxes. And so that alone saves you and your estate and the beneficiaries of your trust thousands and thousands of dollars. And so that trust is a very important instrument, and it's a vital part of your estate plan. And you need to have a trust if you have that certain level of assets. Like I said, if it's over, say, $150,000 and you're in California, you need to have a trust. In addition with that, you need to have a will that will work with the trust and pour over anything that didn't make it to the trust yet into the trust. For example, say your last paycheck on your job comes in, that money comes in, or a retirement account or anything, that income needs to be poured over and protected. So there are very important reasons for you to have an estate plan. And there's more than just the will and a trust, but those are the two most talked about ones. I really want you to consider this, because also, as I mentioned earlier, the will portion can be especially useful for naming guardians for your children. If you have children, you need to think about their future. Who do you want them to wind up with? If something were to happen to you and your children's other parent, who do you want them to wind up with? How are you going to take care of them? And so this is why you need to get legal professionals involved in the creation of your estate plan. This is so important for you. And like I said, especially if you're in the construction field or in you work in the ports, this is important. So again, this is Attorney Tony Bell, and this has been Estate Planning Secrets Revealed. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode, where we're going to delve even deeper into the aspects of estate planning when you are in the construction career. So I look forward to seeing you soon, and take care.